was the first to see him coming, surging over the plain, blazing like the star that rears at harvest, flaming up in its brilliance, outshining the countless stars in the night sky. The star they call Orion's dog, its brightest of all, but a fatal sign emblazoned on the heavens. It brings such killing fever down on wretched men. So the bronze flared on his chest as on he raced, and the old man moaned, flinging both hands high, beating his head, and groaning deep he called, begging his dear son who stood before the gates, unshakable, furious to fight Achilles to the death. The old man cried pitifully, hands reaching out to him. Oh, Hector, Hector! Don't just stand there. Don't, dear child, waiting that man's attack alone. Cut off from friends. You'll meet your doom at once, beaten down by Achilles, so much stronger than you, that hard, headlong man. Come back inside the walls, my boy. Rescue the men of Troy and the Trojan women. Don't hand the great glory to Peleus' son, bereft of your own sweet life. Yourself, pity me too. Still in my senses true, but a harrowed, broken man, marked out by doom, past the threshold of old age, and father's use will waste me with a hideous fate. And after I have lived to look on so much horror, my sons laid low, my daughters dragged away, the treasure chambers looted, helpless babies hurled to the earth in the red barbarity of war. My sons' wives hauled off by the Argives' bloody hands, and I, last of all, the dogs before my doors will eat me raw. Once some enemy brings me down with his sharp bronze sword, or spits me with a spear, wrenching the life out of my body, yes, the very dogs I bred in my own halls to share my table, guard my gates, mad, rabid at heart, they will lap their master's blood and loll before my doors. For a young man, it looks fine and noble if he goes down in war, hacked to pieces under a slashing bronze blade. He lies there dead, but whatever death lays bare, all wounds are marks of glory. But when an old man's killed, and the dogs go at the grey head and the grey beard and mutilate the genitals, that is the cruelest sight in all our wretched lives. So the old man groaned, and seizing his grey hair, tore it out by the roots, but he could not shake the fixed resolve of Hector. And his mother wailed now, standing beside Priam, weeping freely, loosing her robes with one hand and holding out her bare breast with the other. Her words pouring forth in a flight of grief and tears. Hector, my child, look. Have some respect for this. Pity your mother. If I ever gave you the breast to soothe your troubles, remember it now, dear boy. Beat back that savage man from safe inside the walls. Don't go forth, the champion pitted against him. Merciless, brutal man. If he kills you now, how can I ever mourn you on your deathbed? Dear branch in bloom, dear child that I brought to birth, neither I nor your wife, that warm, generous woman, far beyond our reach, by the Argive ships the rushing dogs will tear you, bolt your flesh. So they wept, the two of them crying out to their dear son, both pleading time and again. But they could not shake the fixed resolve of Hector. No. He waited Achilles, coming on, gigantic in power, as a snake in the hills guarding his hole awaits a man bloated with poison, deadly hatred seething inside him, glances flashing fire as he coils round his lair. So Hector, nursing his quenchless fury, gave no ground, leaning his burnished shield against a jutting wall. But, harried still, he probed his own brave heart. There's no way out. If I slip inside the gates and walls, Polydamas would be the first to heap disgrace on me. He was the one who urged me to lead our Trojans back to Ilium last night, the disastrous night as Achilles rose in arms like a god. Did I give way? Not at all. And how much better it would have been. And now my army is ruined thanks to my own reckless pride. I would die of shame to face the men of Troy and the Trojan women trailing their long robes. Someone less of a man than I will say, well, our Hector, staking all on his own strength, he destroyed his army. So they will mutter. So now, it's better by far for me to stand up to Achilles, kill him, come home alive, or die at his hands in glory out before the walls. But wait. What if I put down my studded shield and heavy helmet, prop my spear on the rampart, and go forth just as I am to meet Achilles? Noble Prince Achilles. And why? I could promise to give back Helen, yes, and all her treasures with her, all those riches Paris once hauled home to Troy in the hollow ships. They were the cause of all our endless fighting. Yes, return it all to the sons of Atreus now to haul away, and then, at the same time, divide the rest with all the Argives, all the city holds. We will hide nothing. Share and share alike the hoards that our handsome citadel stores within its depths. And why debate, my friend? Why thrash things out? No, I must not go and implore him. He'll show no mercy, no respect for me, my rights. He'll cut me down straight off, stripped of defenses like a woman, once I have loosed the armour off my body. No way to parley with that man, not now. Well, not from behind some oak, all locked to whisper like a boy and a young girl. Lovers' secrets? Nah. Better to clash in battle now at once to see which fighter Zeus awards the glory. So he wavered, waiting there. But Achilles was closing on him now, like the god of war, the fighter's helmet flashing over his right shoulder, shaking the Pelian ash spear, that terror. And the bronze around his body flared like a raging fire or the rising, blazing sun. Hector looked up, saw him, started to tremble, nerve gone. He could hold his ground no longer. He left the gates behind and away he fled in fear. And Achilles went for him, fast, sure of his speed as the wild mountain hawk, the quickest thing on wings, launching smoothly, swooping down on a cringing dove, and the dove flits out from under, the hawk screaming over the quarry, plunging over and over, his fury driving him down to beak and tear his kill. So Achilles flew at him, breakneck on in fury, and Hector fleeing along the walls of Troy as fast as his legs would go. On and on they race, passing the lookout point, passing the wild fig tree. Down the wagon trail they careered until they reached the clear running springs where the swirling Scamander rises up from its double well springs, bubbling strong. One runs hot, and the steam goes up around it, drifting thick as if fire burned at its core. But the other, even in summer, gushes cold as hail, or freezing snow, or water chilled to ice. And here, close to the springs, lie washing pools, scooped out in the hollow rocks, broad and smooth, where the wives of Troy and their lovely daughters would wash their glistening robes in the old days, the days of peace, before the sons of Achaia came. Past these they raced, one escaping, one pursuing. And the one who fled was great, but the one pursuing greater, even greater. Their pace mounting in speed, since both men strove not for a sacrificial beast or ox-hide trophy, prizes runners fight for. No, they raced for the life of Hector, breaker of horses. And still swift Achilles kept on coursing Hector non-stop, as a hound in the mountain starts a fawn from its lair, hunting him down the gorges, down the narrow glens, and the fawn goes to ground, hiding deep in brush. But the hound comes fast, nosing him out until he lands his kill. So Hector could never throw Achilles off his trail, the swift racer Achilles. Time and again, he'd make a dash for the Dardan gates, trying to rush beneath the rock-built ramparts, hoping men on the heights might save him somehow, raining spears. But time and again, Achilles would intercept him quickly, heading him off, forcing him out across the plain, and always springing along the city side himself, endless as in a dream. When a man can't catch another fleeing on ahead, and he can never escape, nor his rival overtake him, so the one could never run the other down in his speed, nor the other spring away. And how could Hector have fled the fates of death so long? How? Unless, one last time, one final time, Apollo had swept in close beside him, driving strength into his legs and knees to race the wind. And brilliant Achilles shook his head at the armies, never letting them hurl their sharp spears at Hector. Now someone might snatch the glory. Achilles comes second. But once they reached the springs for the fourth time, then Father Zeus held out his sacred golden scales. In them he placed two fates of death that lays men low, one for Achilles and one for Hector, breaker of horses. And gripping the beam mid-half, the father raised it high, and down went Hector's day of doom, dragging him down to the strong house of death, and God Apollo left him. Athena rushed to Achilles, her bright eyes gleaming, standing shoulder to shoulder, winging orders now. Oh, at last, our hopes run high, my brilliant Achilles. Father Zeus must love you. We'll sweep great glory back to Achaea's fleet. We'll kill this Hector, mad as he is for battle. There's no way for him to escape us now, no longer. But you hold your ground and catch your breath, while I run Hector down and persuade the man to fight you face to face. So Athena commanded, and he obeyed, rejoicing in heart. Achilles stopped, leaning against his ashen spear shaft, barbed in bronze. And Athena left him there, caught up with Hector at once, and taking the build and vibrant voice of Deiphobus, stood shoulder to shoulder with him, winging orders. Dear brother, how brutally swift Achilles hunts you, coursing you round the city of Priam in all his lethal speed. Come, let us stand our ground together, beat him back. Deiphobus, Hector, his helmet flashing, called out to her, dearest of all my brothers, all these warring years, of all the sons of Priam and Hecuba. Now I am determined to praise you all the more, you who dared, seeing me in these straits, to venture out from the walls, all for my sake, while the others stay inside and cling to safety. The goddess answered him quickly, her eyes blazing. That's true, dear brother. How your father and mother both implored me time and again, clutching my knees, and the comrades round me begging me to stay. Such was the fear that broke them, man for man. But the heart within me broke with grief for you. Now headlong on and fight. No let up, no lance spared. Now we will see if Achilles kills us both and hauls our bloody armor back to the beaked ships, or he goes down in pain beneath your spear. Athena, luring him on with all her immortal cunning. And now, at last, as the two come closing for the kill, it is tall Hector, helmet flashing, who leads them off. No more running from you in fear, Achilles. I lacked courage then to stand your onslaught, but now my spirit stirs me to meet you face to face. Now kill or be killed. Come. We'll swear to the gods, the highest witnesses. The gods will oversee our binding pacts. I swear I will never mutilate you, merciless as you are, if Zeus allows me to last it out and tear your life away. Once I have stripped your glorious armor, Achilles, I will give your body back to your loyal comrades. Swear you will do the same. The swift, dark glance, and the headstrong runner answered Hector, "Stop, you unforgivable you! Don't talk to me of pacts. There are no binding oaths between men and lions. Wolves and lambs can enjoy no meeting of the minds. They are all bent on hating each other to death. So, with you and me, no love between us, no truce, till one or other falls and gluts with blood Ares, who hacks at men behind his rawhide shield. Come, call up whatever courage you can muster, life or death. Now prove yourself a spearman, a daring man of war. There's no more escape for you. Athena will kill you with her spear in just a moment. Now you will pay at a stroke for all my comrades' grief. All you killed in the fury of your spear. And with that, shaft poised, he hurled. His spear's long shadow flew. But seeing it coming, glorious Hector ducked away, crouched down, watched the bronze tip fly past and stab the earth. But Athena snatched it up and passed it back to Achilles. And Hector, the gallant captain, we never saw her. He sounded out a challenge to Peleus, his princely son. You missed! Look! The great god like Achilles! So, you knew nothing at all from Zeus about my death, and yet how sure you were. All bluff, cunning with words, that's all you are. Trying to make me fear you, lose my nerve, forget my fighting strength. Well, you will never plant your lance in my back as I flee you in fear. Plunge it through my chest as I come charging in, if a god gives you the chance. But now, it's for you to dodge my brazen spear. And I wish I could bury it in your body to the hilt. For how much lighter the war would be for Trojans then if you, our greatest scourge, were dead and gone. Shaft poised, he hurled. His spear's long shadow flew, and it struck Achilles' shield A dead centre hit, but off and away it glanced, and Hector seethed. His hurtling spear, his whole arm's power poured into a wasted shot. He stood there, cast down. He had no spear in reserve. So Hector shouted out to Deiphobus, bearing his white shield. With a ringing shout, he called for a heavy lance. But the man was nowhere near him. Vanished. Yes. And Hector knew the truth in his heart. And the fighter cried aloud, "My time has come. At last the gods have called me down to death. I thought he was at my side, the hero Deiphobus. He's safe inside the walls. Athena's tricked me blind. And now death, grim death, is looming up beside me, no longer far away, no way to escape it now. This was their pleasure after all. Sealed long ago, Zeus and the son of Zeus, the distant deadly archer, though often before now they rushed to my defense. So now I meet my doom. Well, let me die, but not without struggle, not without glory, no. In some great clash of arms that even men to come will hear of, down the years. And on that resolve, he drew the whetted sword that hung at his side, tempered, massive, and gathering all his force, he swooped like a soaring eagle, launching down from the dark clouds to the earth to snatch some helpless lamb or trembling hare. So Hector swooped now, swinging with his whetted sword, and Achilles charged too, bursting with rage, barbaric, guarding his chest with his well-wrought blazoned shield, head tossing his gleaming shield, bright as that star amid the stars in the night sky, the star of the evening, brightest star that rides the heavens. So fire flared from the sharp point of the spear Achilles brandished high in his right hand, bent on Achilles' death, scanning his splendid body, where to pierce it best. The rest of his flesh seemed all encased in armour, burnished, brazen. Achilles' armour that Hector ripped from strong Patroclus when he killed him. It's true. But one spot lay exposed, where collarbones lift the neck bone off the shoulders, the open throat, where the end of life comes quickest, there. As Hector charged in fury brilliant, Achilles drove his spear, and the point went stabbing clear through the tender neck. But the heavy bronze weapon failed to slash the windpipe. Hector could still gasp out some words, some last reply. He crashed to the dust. Godlike Achilles gloried over him. Hector! Surely you thought when you stripped Patroclus' armor that you would be safe, never to fear me far from the fighting as I was, you fool. Left behind there, down by the beaked ships, his great avenger waited, a greater man by far, and that man is I, and I smashed your strength, and you, the dogs and birds will maul you, shame your corpse, while Achaeans bury my dear friend in glory. Struggling for breath, Hector, his helmet flashing, said, I beg you, by your life, your parents, Don't let the dogs devour me by the Argive ships. Wait! Take the princely ransom of bronze and gold, the gifts my father and noble mother will give you, but give my body to friends to carry home again, so Trojan men and Trojan women can do me honor with fitting rites of fire once I am dead. Staring grimly, the proud runner Achilles answered, beg no more, you fawning dog, begging me by my parents. Would to God my rage, my fury would drive me now to hack your flesh away and eat you raw. Such agonies you have caused me. Ransom! No man alive could keep the dog packs off you. Not if they haul in 10, 20 times that ransom and piled it here before me and promise fortunes more. No, not even if Dardan Priam should offer the weight to weigh out your bulking gold. Not even then. Not even then will your noble mother lay you on your deathbed, mourn the son she bore. The dogs and birds will rend you, blood and bone. At the point of death, Hector, his helmet flashing, said, I know you well. I see my fate before me. Never a chance that I could win you over. Iron inside your chest, that heart of yours. But now beware, or my curse will draw God's wrath upon your head. That day when Paris and Lord Apollo, for all your fighting heart, will destroy you by the Scaean gates. Death cut him short. The end closed in around him. Flying free of his limbs, his soul went winging down to the house of death, wailing his fate, leaving his manhood far behind, his young and supple strength. But brilliant Achilles taunted Hector's body, dead as he was. Die! Die! For my own death I will meet it freely, whenever Zeus and the other deathless gods would like to bring it on. With that, he wrenched his bronze spear from the corpse, laid it aside, and ripped the bloody armor off the back. And the other sons of Achaea, running up around him, crowded closer, all of them gazing wonder-struck at the build and marvelous, lithe beauty of Hector. But not a man came forward who did not stab his body in, glancing toward a comrade, laughing. Look here, how much softer he is to handle now, this Hector, than when he gutted our ships with roaring fire. Standing over him so they'd glow to stab his body. But once he'd stripped the corpse, the proud runner Achilles took his stand in the midst of all the Argive troops and urged them on with a flight of winging orders. Friends, lords of the Argives are my captains. Now that the gods have let me kill this man, who have caused us agonies, loss on crushing loss, more than the rest of all their men combined. Come, let us ring their walls in armor, test them, see what recourse the Trojans still have in mind. Will they abandon the city heights with this man fallen, or brace for a last dying stand, though Hector's gone? But wait. What am I saying? Why this deep debate? Down by the ships, a body lies unwept, unburied. Patroclus, I will never forget him. Not as long as I am still among the living, and my springing knees will lift and drive me on. Though the dead forget their dead in the house of death, I will remember, even there, my dear companion. Now, come, you sons of Achaia, rise, raise a song of triumph. Down to the ships we march and bear this corpse on high. We have won ourselves great glory. We have brought magnificent Hector down. That man, the Trojans glorified in their city like a god. So he triumphed. And now he was bent on outrage, on shaming noble Hector. Piercing the tendons, ankle to heel, behind both feet. He knotted straps of rawhide through them both, lashed them to his chariot, left the head to drag, and mounting the car, hoisting the famous armor aboard, he whipped his team to a run, and breakneck off they flew, holding nothing back. And a thick cloud of dust rose up from the man they dragged. His dark hair swirling round that head so handsome once, all tumbled low in the dust. Since Zeus had given him over to his enemies now, to be defiled in the land of his own fathers.